Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is going to be the first deck review that I've done. I've wanted to do them for a while and I'm planning on doing a couple more of decks that I already have, but since this is a new deck, it just came in like 20 minutes ago, I figured we'd start here because I frankly cannot wait to dive in. This is the Tarot of Plants by Heather Enders. She has 3 editions of this deck, one that is in color, one that is black background with white writing. This is the New Moon edition. And there's also the Full Moon edition, which is white background with black writing. This is the companion book. You can see that's kind of how the Full Moon edition looks. So I've been waiting for this deck for a couple months now, simply because I wanted the New Moon edition and she was out of stock. So I kind of had to keep checking and waiting, and it finally came back in stock and I just grabbed it. So I'm so happy to have it here. I work with a lot of plant energies, plant allies. I have a lot of plant themed tarot decks, so this is kind of like something that I've been really looking forward to. I think it's going to be a good addition to my collection, and I hope it is to yours as well. So let's go ahead and dive in here real quick. Just take a look through the book real quick and then we'll get into the cards and we'll do a flip through. So this is the Tarot of Plants by Heather Enders. And it's a nice little book. It's not too big. It's nice and thin. I always like getting companion books if they're offered to plant decks or crystal decks or animal decks, simply because everybody has a different perspective on those symbols and those things. And it's kind of good to see where the artist is coming from or where the creator is coming from as well. Okay, so let's see here. If you hear things in the background, my cat and my dog have decided that they're going to start playing, so that's what any background noise is. So we have the Tarot of Plants. It's a pretty good quality book. Like, I'm not an expert, but I can feel quality in this, and it's very nicely done. So this is kind of the table of contents, what it goes through. The minors are renamed into seasons. That's not like something groundbreaking or new. I tend to like it, especially when I'm dealing with like nature decks. I find it's more immersive than the traditional. If you're a pretty seasoned reader, if you're pretty comfortable, it's really just a title change. But you can also add some aspects of that season into your reading. For example, if you get a ton of spring or summer cards, you might want to discuss the properties associated with those seasons and see how that ties in. So, you've got the how-to, background, major, minor arcana. She goes into numbers and families. She goes into the symbols on the cards. And then she just kind of goes into like a little bit of how to read for yourself. There's a couple little spreads and then a little note on cleansing. I always like when authors and artists and creators of decks include little tidbits of like how they do stuff, like how they read for themselves, how they read for others, if they do any kind of cleansings. It's always pretty nice. Again, it's just gaining further perspective. You never know what you're going to learn. So let's take a look here. Let's just take a quick look at the second card. Let's look at the first card here. Okay. So let's just take a look at the first card just to get a feel for what the guidebook has. So I see it's got some astrological symbols, elemental symbols. I'm not sure if these are just bullet points, because they've got 2 over here, or what, but I'm going to look into that later on my own time. So the first is the Fool, and there's Dandelion. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. It's a very common plant, but it's also a severely underestimated plant. It's one that we call a weed, but in reality, it has a lot of medicinal properties to it, and every part of the plant can be used. So I like this. I like this choice for the Fool. So it's Dandelion, new beginnings, and spontaneity. So when you see these smiling, carefree flowers popping up all around you, the new season is here with plants that are waking up and coming to life. Even as they go to seed, the little babies float along the wind without knowing just where they will fall. Oh, and it's neat here. It actually does tell you what the elements are. So it's an air element, excuse me, and it is ruled by the planet Jupiter. So that's really neat if you're into astrology. Again, this is just adding more informational layers to your reading, helping to really flesh out a reading and giving you kind of different clues if you pull a card and you're kind of stumped. If you have that background that background information and that background knowledge, you're going to be able to apply it to that card. So I like that. I like her style of writing here. It's not just the information, the way she paints a picture about like the little dandelion babies. And I like it, floating along the wind without knowing just where they will fall. That's a very Fool kind of situation. You have to take that leap and you don't know where it's going to lead. But, there's something in your heart that tells you that this is just the start of something wonderful. So I like that. So that's the card part of the book. And I'm just going to leave the rest of the information, for people who want to buy the deck. So I don't like when reviews go too in depth. I kind of am the type of person who likes to wait and see it for myself. So I'm going to leave it to you guys. If you really love this deck, if you love this review and you buy it, I'm sure just from the first page, there are so many little gems in this book that's going to help me with this deck and also add to my, it's my repertoire of plant wisdom and plant information. So with that, I'm going to open the deck. Finally. I've been waiting. I've been debating. Should I do a review? Should I just jump into it? I'm like, no. Because I just started kind of a new chapter in my life. I've been making big changes. And I'm like, this is something I've wanted to do, is to make more videos, to do more readings on video as well. And kind of just share my tarot world and my tarot story with everybody. So, like I said, let's jump in here. So the box is really nice. It's a small deck for me. I love small decks. They have a little taste of what's inside the deck. And I love her art style. I love the minimalism of this. It's going to be interesting to see how the cards play out because they are not in color. So things that I personally am not familiar with, for example, like plants that I'm not familiar with how they look. It's going to be interesting to see how deeply I'm able to grasp them without all of that color and nuance and details. Excuse me. Okay. Sorry about that. Like I said, I've got my pets out, my dog and my cats and everything. So they're going to make noise. I have to pause again. Excuse me. Okay. So I think we're good now. So back to what I was saying. Long story short. Yeah, I'm curious to see how well I will do with this deck. Personally, like I said, I like the size quite a bit. I like the minimalism in it, so we shall see, and let's get started. Okay, so, all right. So, along with the page in the book, it actually has a little card here that kind of gives you an idea as to what the symbols are. So that's neat, and she mentions Cunningham. So that's very nice. Let's see here. Let's just take the sleeve off. So, whoop, they're slippery. It's always good. I like cards that shuffle very smoothly. Let's see if we can get this to focus here. There we go. Okay. Backside, that's nice. That's a good little thing to have handy. And then she explains what she changed here in terms of the minors. So that's nice. A little special thanks as well to people in her life. That's nice. And then you can also find the card meanings themselves at her website if you chose not to go with the book. I like having it on hand. It was very hard for me not to look at the information. I didn't want any spoilers when I was waiting for this deck. So let's do a little flip through here. Actually, let's talk real quick about the quality of the cards, just before I forget, because I know I will. Pretty good cardstock. Not necessarily glossy. I wouldn't call them super matte either, but good quality. They're small, but to me, they're kind of perfect sized. Like I said, I like small decks. I like the way they fit in my hands. I like the way how I can do a big spread without needing a ton of room or having to overlap cards. So So let's do a little flip through here. So we have Zero, which we already talked about. Who's the Fool? Oh, and these are the backs. I like that, that's pretty. We have the Magician. High Priestess. This is one I'm not familiar with, so it'll be interesting, like I said, to go into the guidebook and give it a read. Okay, let's put these back together. There we go. So one thing with black cards, you do have kind of fingerprinting sometimes. But it's not a big deal to me. It's really just a personal preference for people. So we have the Empress, who's corn, which I like. I can see that. The Emperor. Pine. Datura. Hierophant. Lovers. Strength. Justice. So sometimes it looks like you get a little bit of extra symbolism here. For example, strength. You have that classic infinity symbol. Sorry, my dog, he wants to go upstairs, and that's not happening right now. But with justice, who you would see, and usually with like scales, you don't exactly have. I mean, I could see it if I wanted to, but you don't have like an out and out symbol. Kind of like that. Again, it gives you like a mix of having to like use intuition and then also picking up little symbols here and there. So this is the card that really drew me to the deck, the Hermit with the cute little mushroom. I'm a sucker for like mushroom art. I think they're very cute. Wheel of Fortune, Tumbleweed. Kind of like that one. I can see that, you know, change and movement. It's kind of, it's a neat perspective for sure. So we have the Chariot, Lillian. Hanged Man, Willow. Death is Poppy. Cattail for Temperance. Devil, Bindweed. Tower, Pennyroyal. This is my favorite herb to work with spiritually, is rosemary, and I like that it's the star as well. Ooh, water lily, I like that. That's a very cool perspective, using water lily for the moon. That kind of harkens back to the imagery, to me, in the traditional Rider-Waite. Sunflower for the sun. Tulip for Judgment. I can see this. That's also something I like a lot. That sticks out to me right away. I can see what she was going for. The World with Apple. Ooh. It's also a favorite, I don't know, I guess you call it a plant. Favorite plant energy to work with, apple. Okay, so now, let's see what we've got here. Now, has she renamed the aces? Looks like she has, to the Seed of Spring. And this works for me too, because I'm always talking when I do readings about how aces are seeds. So this definitely hits me hard here. I like this a lot. But it's horsetail. And again, this is like kind of where I'm like, I have no idea what this herb is. I'm gonna have to maybe Google it to see what it looks like in person, you know, with color and detail. But things like this can kind of be an open door for opportunity for you to do your further research. So that's why I like that balance. I do like minimalism even in plant decks. It leaves room for me to explore and grow on my own. So Violet for the Two of Spring, which according to her is Wands. So that's interesting. So we're in the suit of Wands now with Spring. Garlic. Daisy. Vetch. Ground ivy. Beryl cacti, which again, as a Seven of Wands, you know, that defensive energy, that, what's a good word for it? Um, just that energy of kind of being on edge, being, you know, being prepared and ready to stand up for yourself, and kind of having your own thorns to, you know, keep unwanted people at a distance. That makes sense when you use cacti. I have another deck where they used the entire suit of swords was cacti, and that's how the deck started, as a joke. It's a lovely deck, the botanical deck. But I like seeing that. That makes sense to me. The cacti for the Seven of Wands. So you have red clover, lettuce. Now this is also something I'm kind of seeing. I hope it's this way through the whole entire deck, where you have a mix between different types of plants. I've had some decks that they'll do crops for, you know, the pentacles, and, you know, cacti for swords, and that's totally fine. But I like a mix throughout the tarot. I like to see, you know, lettuce, for example, which is a very watery plant. You know, it has a high water content, but here it is being portrayed as the Nine of Wands. You know, so that's pretty cool. I like that. I like to see a mix between herbs that I know, plants that I know. I feel like a lot of the plants that we have common access to, that we can get at a grocery store, like lettuce, I feel they're entirely underrated, you know, compared to other herbs and plants that are highly prized in the world of spirituality. It's nice to kind of see, it's like, you know, spirituality is right at your door. You know, you don't need to go buy something fancy. You can work with lettuce as a plant spirit, and it will still teach you its wisdom. So like I said, I like that it is dispersed throughout the deck. You know, you have plants that you know, plants that are wild, like thistle here. Oh, let me turn these two over so I don't get anything mixed up. Okay, so this is the court. So this is how she's naming the court, or the court cards. So you have the daughter, which I assume is the page. Fleabane. That's an interesting plan. Sun for the knight, which is daffodil. Mother for the queen. And father for the king. And then we go back to the ace, which is a seed. So it seems like she's renamed a little bit more than just I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. The minor arcana. So that's interesting. I like that too. Personally, I would have liked to see something a little bit more gender neutral, just because as a reader, I read for so many different kinds of people, and I find that sometimes when it is, you know, something is titled the daughter or the son, that can kind of cornhole people and like make people feel like if they say they see a masculine energy in that card, you know, where it says daughter, that it may influence their readings a little bit more to one direction than being what's the word? Than being you know, having a good lord. Okay, so we're back to the seed of summer, columbine. The two, so summer is cups. So you have wild rose, lavage or lovage for the three, desert sage, lily, lily of the valley. Oh, that's cute. Venus flytrap. I like that. That again, that makes sense to me as a reader, having her choose that that card, or that plant for that card rather. Purple loosestrife, strawberry, tomato. A lot of I see that she's doing a lot of like summer plants showing up in the suit of summer or cups. And I like that. I like that. You can tell there's effort that has been put into this deck rather. And I definitely appreciate it. I'm like, the more I go through this deck, I'm like halfway through, and I'm like, yeah, this is definitely going to be a working deck for me. So I'm really pleased already. So we have the daughter or the page, Maidenhair Fern. The sun is just Fern. Kava Kava for the mother. And Licorice for the father, or the King of Summer, or the King of Cups. So now we're here in Autumn, which is Pentacles. So we have the Seed of Autumn, Cucumber, so that's the Ace. 2 is Maple. 3 is Aspen. I hope she has pumpkin in here. 4 is Potato. 5 is Monkshood. We have Gourd. Chokecherry. I've never heard of that before. Peppers. Beet. Zucchini. It kind of came out of nowhere. I dig it. I dig it. Blueberry. Carrot. Then we have lavender and no pumpkin. But juniper for the King of Autumn or the King of Pentacles. So now we're at the Seed of Winter, which is starting the Suit of Swords. This is the final suit here. So we have Tobacco, Bittersweet, Bleeding Heart, Birch, Mandrake, Spruce, Beech, Lady's Slipper, Belladonna, Hemlock, Ash, Locust, Sassafras, and Oak. I was kind of wondering why she didn't choose Oak for, I do believe it was Strength, I think was the major arcana. But now that she has it as the Father of Winter, or the Father of Swords, or the King of Swords, I kind of like this better, her placement of Oak to be better in this tarot deck. This makes a ton of sense why she chose this this for Swords rather than Strength. So this was the entire deck here. So far my impressions are pretty good. I absolutely like it. I want to work with it on a personal level for a couple nights, kind of see how I'm bonding with it, and then maybe do a couple of readings, like on a Facebook group or something, see where I can go. But yeah, so overall, I very much so like it. Let's shuffle and do let's do like a past, present, future kind of deal. See how they do read, just from a just picked it up and want to read with it kind of state. Okay. Again, they fit into my hands very nicely. Cute little deck. I might edge it, just put some black on there. But overall, the quality is great for this deck. So, okay. Let's move this over and pull 3 cards, just as kind of like a little practice reading. Okay. Okay. So let's see here. So again, I should have probably shuffled a little bit better, but this is just going to kind of give you an idea of how this deck reads. So in the past position, we have the 3 of Autumn or the 3 of Pentacles. It carries the energy of working together. So in the past, if there was somebody sitting down for this reading, I would discuss with them any group projects they've been working on, or any projects that they've been working on perhaps with like family or friends, something that, you know, is a long-term project, which has reached a point of giving them equilibrium, giving them balance in their life, especially on a financial plane. And then we have the seed of autumn, which is showing that all of this effort, this energy, you know, working to create this nice balance here, is giving them even more opportunities to grow, like I said, especially in a financial aspect. So overall, like I said, I absolutely love this deck. Highly recommend it if you want to get your own. She does have an Etsy by the same name, but you can also get it off her website. She has 3 beautiful editions to look through and to consider getting. Overall, like I said, I'm pleased this punch. Definitely worth the wait for me. And I really can't wait to see like what wisdom this deck brings me, what little special tidbits are in the guidebook, and you know, like where this deck takes me as a person and as a reader as well. So I hope you enjoyed my first review of a card deck. It has been a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to go and do more of these. And if you guys have any feedback or any kind of constructive criticism, you know, on this video, what I can do to improve my video quality and whatnot, just, you know, let me know. All right. Have a good day, guys. Blessings.